Hello, my name's Mike and I work for Wellbeing Support Services here at the university. I'm also a coach in running fitness for England Athletics and I'm a mindful runner. So I'm just going to take 10 minutes of your time today to give you an overview of what mindful movement through brisk walking, jogging and running is, what it isn't, why it's useful and how you can practice it, and hopefully you'll get something from this video and decide if it's something you want to try or not. So just to give you a bit of background information first, over the past few years there's been increasing evidence into the impact of aerobic exercise on brain health and fitness. Advances in neuroscience have shown how aerobic activity increases blood flow and heightens activity in areas of the brain associated with emotional regulation, learning, memory, and cognitive functioning. And while stressful experiences have been shown to decrease the production of brain cells in these areas, movement through brisk walking, jogging, or running has been shown to increase the production of brain cells in these areas, as well as promote the survival and functioning of healthy brain cells. So the simple act of moving our muscles through brisk walking, jogging, or running is one of the most effective ways of improving how we think and feel. And it can be thought of as a moving sort of meditation, a mindful movement. So what do I mean by mindful movements or moving mindfully? So from the outside looking in, you wouldn't notice any difference. It's about how we perceive the exercise and relate to the movement that's the main difference. Now, when we usually think about jogging or running, we usually think of it as a means of getting from A to B with a particular fitness or distance goal in mind. And often we're motivated by measuring how far we can go or what pace we're moving at, and just tracking metrics such as speed, average pace and time. In mindful movement, we're using the tool of movement, or using the movement as a tool for tuning into our direct experience of the here and now. And it isn't about achieving a particular goal or trying to get anywhere. It's more of a qualitative approach to exercise. So mindful movement begins with choosing to pay attention to the process of movement itself. And the goal is to tune into our physical senses and body and stay mentally connected with our movement. Now, this may seem an easy task, but it can be really easy to zone out. You know, our legs are moving, but our minds are elsewhere thinking about something completely different. And a tendency many of us have is to go on automatic pilot. And whilst zoning out and letting our minds wander can be useful for problem solving and creativity, this is the opposite of what kind of mindful movement is. So this brings me on to why is it useful? So being mindful of our movement creates a bridge between our body and mind, and it gives our mental attention something to focus on while we're moving. And in terms of the benefits for our movements, it can help to build tolerance to physical stress. It can help us cope better with a certain amount of physiological and psychological discomfort. It can improve our posture, our form, our technique, which can lead to a greater release of tension, and it can help to prevent injuries. And above all, it can enhance our experience and enjoyment of exercise. But applying mindfulness to our movement helps to optimize those brain health and fitness benefits. So think of it as a way of reaping the benefits of mindfulness or aspects of mindfulness through movement while getting those physical health and fitness benefits. And as well as benefiting our movement, the more we practice mindful movement, the better we get at it, and then the more we can integrate it into our everyday lives. And this, impacts positively on our mental health, our sleep, our relationships with others, our ability to deal with what's in front of us, helps improve focus and productivity, and just generally increases our levels of mental well-being and our perception of the world around us. And applying mindfulness in everyday life naturally benefits our exercise. So it's a win-win situation. So the bit you've probably been waiting for is, how do I do it? How do I practice mindful movements? So generally we drop the distractions, which can be in the form of GPS watches, music, or smartphones. And we choose our focus for our movement, and that helps to anchor our attention in the present moment. Now, there are different things we can focus on. There's the environment and our senses. So what I mean by that is connecting with our surroundings in a physical way using our five senses. So it's not about thinking about it or analysing it. It's just about kind of bringing a gentle focus to our surroundings and just noticing, for example, different sounds that come and go, sounds that are distant, sounds that are kind of close by. And then we can move on to kind of sights, or choosing to kind of look out for different colours or bright colours, for example. And then we can kind of bring our attention closer to the body and start engaging our touch sense and just kind of sensing the texture of clothes on our skin, or noticing the different air temperatures on surfaces of the skin. Another thing we can focus on is the breath, and bringing our attention to the breath and just following our own breathing pattern. For example, you might notice that you're breathing in for 2 steps and breathing out for 3 steps, or breathing in for 2 steps and breathing out for 1 step. So again, you're not trying to change anything, you're just bringing some awareness to how you're breathing. And then after that, maybe you can focus on establishing a rhythmical breathing pattern. So if you can, try and establish a 2-2 breathing pattern or a 3-3 breathing pattern, and just kind of focus on that. Use that as an anchor in your movement. And another thing you can do is scan your body for any physical tension. So and this links nicely in with the breath. So often when you're running, you might notice discomfort or some physical tension around your shoulders, or your lower back, or just your hips, or your calf. And what you can do is, by silently telling that area of the body to relax, you can release tension. So particularly when you notice a particular physical sensation, certainly notice it on the in-breath, and then as you breathe out or exhale, just let go of that tension, bring some kind of softness to that area. And that's a really useful way of being mindful in our movements. So we eventually want to kind of, we might choose to alternate between different areas of focus. and just try and stay with them for short periods at a time. You know, it might be just for a minute, or it might be between different markers, such as trees or kind of the end of the street. And when you notice you've got distracted or you've lost your attention, we're just simply bringing our attention back to the body, back to the present moment. And eventually we want to kind of settle into a rhythmical movement and just find joy and relaxation in the activity or in the movement itself. And by bringing mindfulness to an exercise we might already be doing, we're transforming an everyday and often automatic activity into a richer experience of present moment awareness. And we're transforming exercise into a moving sort of meditation. So there's a lot to take in there. So I just want to leave you with a few tips. Firstly, plan a time. So find some time in the day to go out for 10 to 20 minutes and just see this time as an opportunity for being away from distractions and just tuning into your senses and your body, and just as an opportunity just to be in the moment. Move in nature if you can. So if you're fortunate enough to live to a close park or a river or some kind of pleasant outdoor space, try mindful movement in that environment. There'll be fewer distractions in these areas, and it can also change the way exercise feels. Being in or close to nature has been shown to kind of lower stress levels, and it can also be useful in terms of knowing how your mind works differently in these contrasting environments. And be curious. Mind wandering and distraction is normal. And the mindfulness part is just remembering to bring your attention back when you notice you've got distracted, and trying to stay mentally connected with it for a bit longer next time. And lastly, or finally, don't take it too seriously. Even when you feel internal or kind of outside pressures to perform, there's nothing to achieve or measure yourself against. There is no right and wrong. The only thing we're measuring ourselves against is our intention to be present, or it's very much about intention. So sometimes you might exercise outdoors and you just feel very distracted. You almost consciously allowing your mind to wander, and that's fine. But it's our intention. So be open to it, have some fun with it, and find out what works and doesn't work for you. Be flexible with how you use it, and hopefully there'll be some more videos and resources on here in the coming weeks. Enjoy.